Hi guys, welcome back to your boys channel. If you're already here, kindly smash the like button. If you're new, kindly subscribe to the channel and support your boy as I push my way to 10,000 subscribers. Today, I have the one and only Jessica with me, who is not a stranger to most of you on Arsenal Twitter. How are you doing?
I'm so good. Thank you so much for having me. It's good now because we have games to talk about and actual transfers because at the beginning of like the window, there's like nothing happening. So yeah, I'm excited to talk. Let's do it.
Yeah, it was very boring at the beginning of the window. Nobody seemed to be sure what we're doing this window, but now we have Calafury in and things are starting to move. But before we get into that part, I love hearing this story from every single Arsenal fan that comes to this channel for the first time. And my question is, how did you become an Arsenal fan? I think I've heard your story before. You had it pinned on your Twitter account sometimes, and I just want you to tell everybody watching this how you became an Arsenal fan.
Yeah. So I used to play when I was younger,
Really?
and yeah, I used to play.
Wow.
It actually was like, well, people are gonna hate when I say this, but like here in America, we call it soccer. Don't kill
Right.
me about it. But
Yeah, I get it.
everybody at my school, like in elementary school, played recreation, like it was like a big thing. And I joined and I absolutely loved it. And I was obsessed with it. And my mom, who I'm very close to, wants to be close with everything that I want to do. So she realized how much I love the sport. She actually became a referee, which was really cool.
Wow.
Yeah, she was like, she's so down. And she wanted to find games for us to watch. And in America at that time, you could only really watch like MLS, some of the Liga MX. You could watch, U.S. women, but there wasn't like that much European football to watch. And so she actually was trying to find some stuff. And they, in America, they would play Manchester United games and Arsenal games. You could catch them every once in a while. And so the first Premier League game I ever saw was actually a Manchester United game. And I was like, oh, this seems kind of cool. Like it's Roy Keane, Andy Cole, stuff like that. And I was like, okay, maybe this will be my team. The very next weekend, my mom was like, you have to come see this team. You have to come see this team. They're so good. They have a lot of black players. There's this guy named Thierry Henry on the team. He's so good. And I was like, oh, okay, let's watch them. And I was like, this is my team. This is it. I'm done. Like, this is my team. I love them so
And
much.
from that moment on, never changed.
Yes,
You got
exactly.
hooked.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it was kind of love at first sight kinda thing.
I think it was theory from most of Arsenal fans of our generation. You watch that guy once and you just get addicted to him. It was so good during back in the days.
Yeah.
That out of the way, let's talk about Emile. A lot of Arsenal fans has been really, really emotional, seeing one of our own leave the club. How do you feel about the transfer, the fee involved, and everything involved in the transfer? Do you see it as a good deal? And how do you feel about Emile leaving the club?
Yeah, I mean, I think anytime a Highlander leaves, it does sting a little bit, and I think Emile in particular is gonna be a sore spot for a lot of Gooners because they identify Emile as, like, the beginning of this project, Emile Saka coming in after Christmas time in a season where we were playing terribly, at the beginning of Mikel Arteta's tenure and, kinda turning things around or at least showing, like, a little bit of a bright spark. One of the games that I feel like exemplifies is when we played against West Brom at home, and it was the snow game, and Tierney and Saka and Emile Smith Rowe were playing so
Yeah, I
well,
remember that
and
game.
yeah, and everybody thought that that was the future of the team, and it's just hard to predict how things are going to go. I think Emile's injuries have set him back quite a bit. It's not what people forget. Emile played for the England national team a couple of years ago. That's how
Yeah,
good
he had his debut.
season, yeah, that he had. So it's a really unfortunate turn of events. That being said, not everybody is going to make it. It's very rare at a team like Arsenal you're going to make it, and so having Saka be such a big part of the team, I think, is great. But there are going to be some players that just don't make the grade moving forward. I think Emile is kind of like a example of that. In terms of the deal, I think it's a great deal. I think 27 million for the base fee and then 7 million or whatever it is. I think it's like 7 million in
Yeah,
add-ons.
yeah.
Is good for a player that hasn't really played in 2 years. Like, if we're being honest, he hasn't really played consistently or significant minutes in 2 years. So he still has value, which is a good example of selling before it's obvious to sell. And now we get to use that money to bring in a midfielder that probably is going to give us a little bit more. And so I'm excited. I think the deal makes sense. It makes sense for everybody. And now, you can watch him play at Fulham. I'm sure as long as he stays fit, you get to watch Emile Smith Rowe actually play good minutes. We'll get to improve our squad, and it's a win-win-win for everybody.
Yeah, exactly my sentiment. But talking about, the midfield area of the team, coming into the summer, I was expecting us to go out there and get another marquee signing in midfield. There were names like Bruno Guimaraes, who had like 100 million release clause, who I really, really like as a footballer, not as a person, especially when he's in your when he's on your team. Uh, but according to Mikel, we're not seeing. It doesn't seem like we're getting someone of that caliber this window. Seems like we're getting like a short-term fix, like a Trossard kind of signing, you know. And Merino has been top of that list, which is not very exciting, for many Arsenal fans. I mean, myself, I've not really watched a lot of this guy aside the Euros. And, watching, I watched a couple of Sociedad game last season, and the focal point for me was Zubimendi, because Zubimendi's name has been linked to us, for quite a while now. And Merino coming out of nowhere just seems so unexciting. What do you think about the deal?
So I'm just like you. I went into the summer window expecting a marquee midfield signing because I think the midfield last season was very kind of trying to make it work. I don't think it ever worked to the best of its abilities. And that's not saying that, when we got into the second half of the season, that Jorginho / Partey and Rice in the 8 wasn't good. But I still
Mhm.
don't feel like it's as good as it could be. And so I did kind of expect us to go for a marquee signing in midfield, but I also expected us to have like a big exit. I expected Thomas Partey to go. Without Thomas Partey leaving, my expectation of a marquee signing coming in midfield actually dissipated quite quickly because his wages are just, they're starting level wages. They're the types of wages that you would attribute to somebody who's going to start a lot of games. And I think a lot of people only think about like, well, just splash the cash, but that's not really how it works. You have to distribute the wages right. And right now, Thomas Partey is staying. So we don't have the ability to maneuver in the market and bring in a Bruno Guimaraes or, somebody like that. But I do think that Arsenal are doing the right thing by still trying to improve
Ye-
our midfield options despite not being able to get a marquee. And that's where Merino comes in. Yeah. So I think the club are doing the right thing by trying to improve the midfield even though we're not going to get a marquee. Moreno is somebody that I have watched quite a bit of. I did watch quite a bit of Real Sociedad last season. They're my La Liga team. And so I watched some of Zubamendi, and I also got the chance to watch a lot of Merino. I think Arsenal fans are going to be, if the deal does come to fruition, are going to be surprised at how good he actually is. I'm not about to sit here and say that I feel like he's the best midfielder in the world. But I do think that he's going to solve an issue that we do have in midfield where we just don't have a number 8 that has the technical ability, the passing range, the thing that a midfielder would have. And so I think he's a good signing. He's not going to block Nweri, which I think is important because in preseason he's been so good that I think people are realizing that he has a spot for next season. So yeah, I think Merino is not an exciting signing, but for people that were feeling like, oh, we shouldn't have sold Granit Xhaka last summer, and that if we had just had him, we would have been good. Is Granit Xhaka an exciting player? No, he's not. And don't try to lie to me. Like nobody lie to me and say Granit Xhaka is exciting. He's not. But we understand what his role is, and Moreno he's
He
going to
gets the job done. Mhm.
yeah, he's gonna smash the role that Kai Havertz was supposed to play, that box crasher, third man run, connector in
Mhm.
midfield next to Declan Rice. He's going to absolutely smash that role. And so I'm excited about the signing. It's not a marquee, but Partey and Jorginho are going to leave next summer. So we know in 2025, we're going to go get somebody big. So we just need to be patient.
Yeah, that actually makes sense. Up until this moment, the only positive for me from that deal is the fact that it gives, Ethan and Lewis Kelly, some kind of pathway into the first team, something we haven't seen, in recent years. And Mikel himself has come under criticism for this particular thing. And that's just literally the only positive for me right now
Yeah.
regarding
We'll just
that deal.
have to
But
wait
yeah,
and see him. He's definitely the type of player you're gonna have to wait and see. And then you'll be like, oh, okay, yeah, yes, he's actually good.
yeah,
You
I
know?
mean, there's one thing about me, to be honest. Everybody loved that market signing, that comes with a lot of excitement, PR, and everything. But whoever you are, I want you to, pull on the shirt. The moment you pull on the shirt, I'm giving you that chance
Same.
to whatever I've known about you before then. I want to forget it. Like the other signing last summer was very, very unpopular, very, very
Mm,
controversial one. And I just
yeah,
felt like, give him a chance. And first half of the season wasn't good enough, and second half of the season he had a
very
very,
good.
very decent. So
Yeah,
let's see how that goes. And one other area that needs addressing in the team, I'll say the forward line. But for some, they feel like we need a striker. They don't trust Kai Havertz enough, even though he was very good whenever he played up front last season.
mm,
For some, they want us to prioritize a backup for Saka. Personally, I feel like, with Eddie leaving the club and we have Havertz was very, very decent, up front last season. I feel like we need to go out there, get a prolific striker, that can come in, compete with Havertz, move Jesus to the wing. Whenever Saka needs to get a rest or something, play Jesus there because he played against Vardy last season and it was decent. Would you rather go out there, sign a winger, or go out there for a striker? I think we're linked with Sane yesterday.
honestly, this is one of the questions that if you ask me tomorrow, I may have a different answer because I genuinely don't know. Because it's like 1 minute I'm like, yeah, get the striker because, what if, Kai Havertz misses those chances and then we need somebody. And then the next time I'm like, but the striker market's not great. Let's go for a winger. But the winger market's not great. And so I would hate to be Edu right now because I just
I
don't
know.
feel like there's anything that's super obvious out there for us to get. Now, I do think that there is a risk of moving Jesus to the wing permanently. I think you could potentially lose him because, I mean, he came to Arsenal wanting to prove that he's the number 9. And so shunting him out to the wing, I do think could permanently, damage his confidence. So I think about that as well. But, who are we actually going to get as a striker to come in? I don't know. Gyökeres has been linked. Are we really gonna go out there and get him? You can't get Isak. I don't know. But for wingers, you also have to think who's gonna come in here and actually wanna be a backup to Saka. I was having this conversation yesterday. People are like, "Oh, Saka needs competition." Be serious. Like, if Saka can walk, Saka's playing. Like, let's be serious.
Exactly. I keep telling people this that not every single player in a team needs competition. Some actually just need a backup. And Saka is
Yeah,
one of those players. You don't get
exactly.
them a competition. Nah.
Yeah. So whoever comes in is probably going to need to be also able to play on the left. And so that comes into play. So I wonder if we go back in for Pedro Neto. I know he has some really bad injury issues, but maybe at a
That's my issue
reduced
with this
fee.
guy.
Yeah. But Sane, no. The wages, the age, the fact that he doesn't really help us be more direct. He's not necessarily pacey. He ran away from the Premier League years ago. No,
And
I
in
just
my opinion, I think it's like past his prime,
yeah,
really. And he
yeah,
doesn't want to come here to sit behind Saka. And I've always been a Nico Williams guy because he's more direct, pacey, he's strong on the ball, he can score goals, he can play on the right, play on the left. For me, it literally solves every problem we have,
he does.
you know. on that wing. If Martinelli is off form, he can come in there, play for us, and we still play at the same level we play. Saka is not playing; he can play on that side, but I don't know if if the reports are true about what he's earning currently at Atletico, but I don't think we can pay or offer him that kind of contract at
Yeah,
that young
the
age.
wages I think are significant because you would have to disrupt your wage structure to bring him in, and Arsenal have been really keen on, like, keeping their wage structure down, so I don't know if you'd wanna bring in somebody like that, but, I don't Barcelona look like they have completely, like, just shut it out, they're not interested in going back in for him. Maybe Arteta can go and swoop in and convince him, but because that was their number 1 option. He's so perfect, but those wages just sound
That's
insurmountable.
the only downside. Yeah.
Yeah. 'Cause he's not gonna, like he's not gonna bring his wages down, like, he's not gonna
Nah,
accept less, so, yeah,
nah.
it's an interesting one, but Arsenal do need to bring in an attacker, I will say that for sure, like, I saw that Reece Nelson is no longer, like, really an option for Leicester, which is unfortunate because that was something that was supposed to, like, I think Fabrizio Romano said maybe, like, 6 days ago that they were in negotiations, no longer in negotiations today,
Mhm.
so Reece Nelson is somebody to me that, like, no shade, you guys, but he's just not somebody that I feel like adds very much to the team. I really do feel like we need to bring somebody else in, whether that's a striker or a winger, somebody needs to come in. Going with what we had last season feels like we're setting ourselves up for the same problems. We score a lot of
A
goals,
massive boy is
but
a massive gamble.
yeah, it is. Especially 'cause we
No.
had games where we were at home and we did not score. Like,
Mhm.
as a title challenging team, you don't get shut out at home. Like, it's just you shouldn't. So, yeah, I think it's more about being able to score goals in stressful situations, and when you're not playing perfect, be able to nick a result more than the amount of goals that we score, and I'm not sure Reece Nelson necessarily helps us with that, so, yeah.
Yeah, I hear that. Lastly, quick touch on Liverpool later
Yeah.
tonight. I mean, it's a preseason friendly, but it's a preparation towards the beginning of the season. We've seen a lot of academy players impressed us this preseason, especially. I know a lot of people were looking forward to Ethan, Lewis Kelly,
Yeah.
but one person that surprised me personally is this Evan guy, and and Salah Eddin as well. Those two guys have really, really surprised me. And going into the Liverpool game, what are you looking forward to in that game?
Um, Calafiori to get a couple minutes. I'm
Mm,
not gonna
yeah, that
lie. I
one.
wanna see him get a couple of minutes, okay? Um, I wanna see I do wanna see what we do at the back. I'm really interested to see what Timber's, position is gonna be. I think he'll probably start at right-sided center back, but I think we're all kind of like, "Okay, is he gonna move to the right? What's gonna happen with Ben?" Like, I'm excited to see what happens there, but my guess is that Ben we'll start with Ben, Timber, Gabriel, and somebody on the left. I don't know if it'll be Calafiori or not. I'm looking to see how we start in midfield. Declan won't be there, but is he going to start with Jorginho or Partey, who's fitter to start the season? Because one of them is going to have to start the season. And right
Mhm.
now, Thomas is looking really old. So can we get our fitness up? Can we get our fitness up? Looking to see if he starts Ethan again in midfield. He started both preseason games. If he starts again, I think we're looking at somebody that Arteta really rates. And probably a wild card I'm looking at is Fabio Vieira. I think it's significant that he's starting on the wing and Ethan's starting in midfield. Um,
Mhm.
I think the hierarchy would be that if you're trusted, you play in midfield. If you're not trusted, you're put out on the wing. Fabio playing on the wing, I think, is significant. He needs to have a big season, and I don't necessarily think he did much against um, Manchester United.
United?
So,
Yeah.
yeah, I think he was pretty ineffective. So I'm that's what I'm mostly looking forward to see how we start at the back, to get more of a indication of where Timber's gonna play, who's gonna start at base of midfield, because one of them is the older guys are going to have to start. Does Ethan start again? And if Fabio can affect the game, you know, are you going to
Yeah,
watch the game? Are you going to stay up and watch it?
of course I'm staying up. I'm not missing any preseason game. Nah, I
Okay.
miss the
Okay.
club so much, so nah, I'm not skipping any game this season.
Okay. But it's
Um,
not that late for you. It's more like midnight, like just
yeah, I
after
know,
midnight.
but I hardly sleep at night anyways. I do
Okay.
my sleeping during the day. So,
Okay.
speaking on Fabio, right, I would love to speak on that briefly. This guy needs to step up this coming season because he Odegaard out of the team, that's a massive hole in the team already. And I think the most likely replacement for him in the team right now is Fabio. I don't see us going out there to get another Odegaard backup or whatever. And looking at the previous season, this will be his third full season at the club. I'm really concerned.
Yeah. Same. No, I'm concerned as well because I rate him. I think when I say I rate him, I rate the talent. Like I think that there is a talented player in there. I don't
Yeah,
think he's a
100%.
dud.
It
Like I
just
don't.
hasn't find that, consistency. He has
Yeah.
some good games and some games just swallow them up.
Yeah.
So it's a
But
major concern going into the new season.
oh yeah, for sure. I just with Fabio, I do feel like when you look at the 2 preseason games that we played, granted they're preseason, but Ethan made his presence known in midfield, and I feel like Arteta's not telling you not to get on the ball. He's not telling you not to get on the ball. He's not telling you not to be involved. If you wanna be involved, you can be. And I just feel like there are games where Fabio will play in midfield or even on the wing where you can't remember a single thing you did. But when you have like a 16-year-old coming in, 16, 17-year-old, I don't know how old Ethan is, and he's affecting the game, you know it's more about the player than the environment. And so
Mhm.
if Fabio wants it, he's going to have to fight for it. And right now, I feel like he's kind of low on the pecking order. And if he wants to move up it, he's going to have to make that happen. Um, but yeah, for 34 million or whatever we spent on him, he hasn't shown that level at all. In bits and pieces, he showed bits of quality, but right now it's not looking good, so and I know he scored against Bournemouth, but my whole thing is like, I know you can do that. I know you can. I know you have a good shot on you. I know you can do those things, but it's about affecting the game consistently. And I don't feel like he does that enough. Um, so yeah, it's harsh, but I actually like him a lot. So
Like I
I am
want him to work out so bad, but
same,
I mean
same.
the pressure keeps on mounting season after a lot of us have already given up on this guy. And before I forget, Eddie for 20 million euro. Are they serious?
I mean, I they're listen. I would love to say that I'm surprised, but I'm not because they don't be having money like that in Europe. And
Mhm, yeah.
Eddie is our like, let's be real, he's our third choice striker that didn't play any significant minutes in 2024. So I do feel like getting 50 million or something like that was like way out. I hope that we could have gotten like 30, pushed it a little bit further, like what we got for Balogun. But Balogun actually had a good loan where he scored a lot of goals. And so I think that when you leave people on the shelf for too long, they lose value. And I think that's what happened with Eddie. Plus the fact that they agreed personal terms with him and made it difficult for us to have any sort of bidding war, any sort of leverage. And so, yeah, like 20 million is probably the most that we can hope for, euros at that. So it's like, it's kind of like, dang, but I guess we have to take it, don't we? I don't
Well,
know.
I can't disagree much. I was hoping we could get like 25 million euros or thereabouts because I think he's a very good player, just not the level we need at Arsenal Football Club. We don't have that luxury of time to play him because I feel like
Yeah.
it, we didn't give him consistent run of games enough. So, and we don't have that luxury of time now to keep playing Eddie till it clicks. So, but getting 20 million euros, I don't think it's not a 10 over 10 deal for me, but I'll say fair enough. He didn't play a lot last season. even the season before. The moment the first choice or second choice striker is available, is going straight back to the bench. So I hear that, and there you have the video, guys. Let me know your thoughts. Let me have your predictions about the Liverpool game later tonight, and I'll see you guys on the next one.